we're exploring three-dimensional shapes and we're using our senses. So we've been feeling things, we've been looking at things, we've been touching things, and then the icing on the cake was to be able to go into the Hive Centre and put on the glasses and actually see the images in virtual reality.
You get a real wow factor. You can hear the intake of breath, and with a group of school children, they're not inhibited. They're quickly telling us it's exciting. They're reaching out and trying to touch and to grab.
And we had these like special 3D glasses, so the pictures like came to come out at you, and it was like really weird because they all like came really close to you, and you can just like move them around and things. So it's like really, really good.
I think the experience of the virtual side of it, instead of having to use their imagination, it's helping their imagination.
So from my perspective, I see a group of people in there getting a new experience, something exciting and engaging. But what's interesting is that the technology itself often becomes invisible after 10-15 minutes and the novelty wears off, which is correct, and what they're more interested in is what they're looking at on the screen and what they're trying to learn about.
I think it was like really good the way they've like made them more 3D and everything, because like when you go see movies sometimes you get free 3D glasses but they just don't work.
The wow factor won't last for long. We've then got to see how we can use this technology to really enhance learning and also encourage learning to take place in children where they're having difficulty learning through other media.
Yes, our original remit was to work with researchers and businesses and students at the university, which we duly did, and very swiftly we found we had a new set of customers knocking on our door, being that of schools and colleges, saying we'd like to bring this and try and introduce it into the curriculum to see if and how it can help support the learning process there. So we of course said yes, of course, let's see what we can do together.
We've got a strong partnership with our feeder primary schools called the South Hunsley Partnership, and we do an extensive range of activities with several year groups across many different areas of the curriculum. This one in particular, Liz Russell at AST in Maths, has been working on lots of different maths projects with our primaries, and we saw this as an ideal opportunity to extend the maths into an area that we hadn't experimented with before.
What the children are making at the moment is a slice form, and this slice form here is something that's flat, but when I actually move it, it's a sphere, and it's all made up of little slices, and knowing the shapes that are made on each one of these are all made up of circles going in that direction and circles going in that direction, and these are lovely to feel, but again it's giving ideas for design but using maths in that design at a later date.
I think they realise that shapes are made up of other shapes and not just what you see. That makes it much more exciting and makes them question shapes, the characteristics of shapes and how one shape can change into another shape very, very easily.
My AST job is to work with our 7 feeder primary schools and do different projects with them.
The kind of enthusiasm that Liz has and the way she's able to share that with her colleagues. I've just been speaking to one of the teachers who's from one of the schools, and she's so excited about the children who are talking about what they want to do when they get back, about sharing with others. AST is working in so many different ways right across the county and share their expertise and their skills, and the feedback is always positive, it's always very good.
I've always thought that if something is memorable, then children remember it much better. So to be able to come out from school on a day like today and come and see these things, which is cutting edge technology, they're going to remember this all their school lives. And hopefully they'll also remember the topics that we've been looking at and the names of the shapes and how shapes can be explored. And when they're doing design projects, when they are doing their maths, when they are looking into different things, art, whatever, they've got already the different shapes and how they can move and how they can do different things. They've got that to come back to.
And it would be wonderful if we could do this more often, really, because obviously there's all sorts of resources and technology here that we don't have in the primary school. So wonderful opportunity.
I think the partnership with South Hunsley and the university is really, really important. It makes the children realise that beyond the primary school there's a lot of learning in the future, and it's not just simple shapes, it can take it into that next dimension.
So the technology is the engaging, exciting part, which is perfect, which really draws them in and gets their interest, but then it's how that can aid their understanding further down the line.
I think it's fantastic to use the state-of-the-art technology, and I think for them it's inspirational, and hopefully encourage them to be the engineers of the future.